Hello and welcome to another episode of Andy's Chopping at the Bit, brought to you by Big Andy Media, the official sponsor of most of the Andy's Chopping at the Bit episodes. So today I decided I'm going to do a little bit of talking about taking on big tasks, big projects. That's the right word. Taking on big projects. Um, it's been on my mind because that's kind of something I've been starting aside from business, which is a big project. Now I have an additional one. So as you guys probably have noticed, I'm not in a basement, which means I'm no longer in sober living where I have to go into a basement for uh, a quieter recording, uh, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, I appreciated my moments being able to go to sober living. I wasn't sure how it would fit for me, especially going into it with 2.5 years clean and sober. I didn't know if that was something that would work, and it worked well. It worked very well, and it's a great reminder that it doesn't matter if you have 5, 10 years of clean time, or if you're at 6 months to a year. If you put in the effort, if you're working hard, it pays off. And there's a lot of people at that house that I was at that are working hard. Not everyone. There's always people that go through the motions, but a lot of them are putting in the effort. Anyway, um, so now I got a place where I don't have all of that space sharing, and I get to have my dog Sophie here. But one of the catches, and it's a fair catch, is I am responsible for maintaining this place, which is expected of any place, but also assisting in repairs, overseeing contract work, things like that, and cleaning up the place, which, to put it lightly, um, there's a lot of work that needs to be. It's livable. It's very livable. Parts of the house. Uh, but there's a lot of tasks that need to be done. Cleaning was a big one, but also there's a lot of things that are torn apart. A lot of projects that were started that just never got past the tear apart stage. So there's plenty of tasks, and it was typically something like this would be overwhelming. And when you look at it at first glance, yeah, it came across that way. But something that I have improved on, actually, I've gotten really fairly good at this now, is being able to step away from the big project and simply breaking it into several small projects, knowing that I don't have to do everything today. I don't have to do every project today. Um, and this topic, what makes this nice is it doesn't just go on someone who's a recovering addict. It doesn't just go with someone who might have struggles with mental health. This is something that everyone faces at some point in their life. And I feel that it's something that people across the board often struggle with, myself included, for most of my life. And I'm not going to say I don't struggle at all with it anymore, but I've definitely got better in the recent past. I've been always pretty decent at multitasking, but big projects as a whole, that one can be a bit more challenging. It can be a lot more intimidating. And the hardest thing is just simply starting. Uh, so basically with this, um, there's a couple bedrooms, and uh, the one bedroom I can't use, but the other two are usable, and the one was much more fit for moving in right away. So that's where I set up my bedroom, or my stuff, and I stay. But this room that I'm in, oh my god, it was a pretty big disaster. Like I said, everything was torn apart, and there were paint cans and garbage scattered throughout the room. There was ceiling peeling. um, it was pretty bad. And I knew that coming in. It's not like I walked through the door and I was blindsided. I knew that was coming. And then that was part of the agreement with me um, being able to move here was that I was going to have a lot of work to do. And so, aside from maintaining the place, aside from being like a security bit by living here, it also there's more to it. You know, I get to get my hands dirty a little bit in my free time and you know spruce this place up. Uh, in steps though. So this was the first room I dealt with. And so that first day, I didn't have anything organized really or anything unpacked. First day though, I simply said, okay, I am going to spend a few hours. That was ended up being more than a few hours, but that's what I said. I'm going to be spend a few hours simply picking up things in here that aren't necessarily something that gets thrown away, putting them in a more organized fashion in another area that's not being occupied, um, and then getting the shop vac up here and shop vacuuming the rug. Which, well, first cleaning off the fan and the lights, and then shop vacuuming the floor, and then getting my actual vacuum and vacuuming the floor, and then sprinkling down a bunch of this powder stuff, deodorizing stuff, and waiting a half hour, and then vacuuming that up. It was a task. I mean, it very easily could have overwhelmed me, and and it was still, like I said, it took more than a few hours. I thought it was only going to be a few hours, um, but by breaking it down, I know there's a whole lot going, as far as things to be done in the house. I just focused on one room, and I didn't focus on fixing up the entire room. I focused on cleaning. Also, I got the painting, the peeling paint from the ceiling. I got that off, so I don't have to worry about that falling down or more stuff, and it looks a lot better. And the room smells good now. It didn't necessarily earlier. It does now. Um, but I was able to clean it up, and it was clean. It's clean enough now. It's clean now. Uh, so now I have my computer in here, and I have piano. I actually, my yoga mat and ab mat. I got those things in here so I can do my little workout because it has a fan in the room. And it's perfect for that. You know, it's usable now. It wasn't so much when I first moved here, but it is now. Those are the little things like that. And today I actually took the time, and I'm still alive, so I did it right, and everything works. I redid all the with the help of my dad, the power outlets in here. Originally, it was these older houses that had two-prong outlets. So we went to the breaker and through trial and error figured out um, which one breaker was for this room and shut off the power and replaced the three outlets with three prongs. So that was a decent accomplishment for among other things we did today. But it's those little tasks like that, and it's by no means is this room finished. There's a wall here that's partially wallpapered, and so there's things to do. The carpet, though it's now clean, it's pretty stained in a lot of areas. So, but that's okay because that wasn't the task for that at the time. The task was cleaning this up, cleaning first, then maintenance, fixing, and then the more significant repairs. So I've got it in steps now, and I started with this room. And then the next room I worked on was my bedroom. So I took out my dressers, or dresser and bedstand, or nightstand, whatever. I took out the bed carefully, emptied the closets, cleared out extra stuff in the little bathroom there that's not usable yet. Anyway, I took all that stuff out. I had to do the same thing with the ceiling as far as peeling paint falling down from the ceiling, but I was able to do that. Shop vac, did the whole same thing as I did for this room, essentially. Took more time, it was a bigger room, but I was able to do that. And then as I was putting stuff back in, I was able to organize and sort stuff out. But by doing this, I've been breaking stuff down one step at a time. And if I got it related to recovery, my recovery is I learned that skill in a sense um, because I had to take things in smaller increments. I had to learn to, live one day at a time. At times, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. It was. It's a serious skill to develop in recovery, um, but it goes beyond simply recovery if you choose to apply it. Um, Even a lot of the programs and sports, they have 12 steps. It's a great system. Um, if anyone does, I'd recommend not rushing through it and make sure that you're more thorough instead of quick. And something you never finish. That's the key thing, that you will always, you never graduate from that stuff. Um, anyway, but it's same thing. You work on one thing at a time, and you don't just jump around this and that and come back. No, just focus on the one thing. Don't worry about the rest. Just one thing. You get that done, okay, now look at what you have. Where's the priorities? So I know what the priorities for fixing are right now here, and that's contract work for the top priority things. But what can I do right now? I can do things like cleaning up, you know, decluttering, organizing stuff, replacing outlets, those things I'm comfortable with, replacing shower curtains, deep cleaning stuff. That stuff that's all in my abilities, and it's a few hours a day. It's it's manageable. I don't know how long it's going to take. There's a lot of stuff, and I've really embraced not looking too far ahead. Right now, I have today, as of today, I've finished a good chunk of the cleaning of my most common areas. So the fridge. Oh my gosh, that was bad. But that's cleaned. That's cleaned thoroughly. Uh, the bedrooms are most of the bedrooms are cleaned. Uh, the one bathroom's cleaned thoroughly. The hallway for all that's cleaned. Um, things are starting to come together here, and I like this. This is fun to me. I don't think I would have said that very long ago. I don't think I would have said that even maybe a year and a half ago. I probably wouldn't have said that. Maybe a year and a half ago, but 2 years, not a chance. Being realistic, I would have been overwhelmed at the idea. I probably would have been happy to have the offer, but I wouldn't have put as much of the structure and work into it. It would have been a put off and get to it maybe once a week or every other week. But I built it into my routine this time. And I think that's the key thing with projects, is not trying to shoot to the end, looking for that big picture, just taking it one step at a time. And it's something that I have to remind myself, even with my business. I'm pretty good at it with my recovery. Been so far pretty good at it with, cleaning and restoring, fixing. Uh, but I need to, those are things that I can apply across the board. Increments, or from the movie What About Bob, baby steps. Just take it, small increments, and it becomes manageable. It really does. It's helping. Like I said, that wasn't me for most of my life. Most of my life would come, okay, I'd say chores on Saturday, right? Uh, and I get Saturday, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this. And I'd get exhausted before even starting, mentally exhausted. Um, and I think the difference now is I don't try doing it all in one day. I don't just say, today's cleaning day. I say, okay, today I'm doing this. Tomorrow I'm doing this. I might take a day off, but then I'm going to do this. Breaking it up because I got 7 days a week. Why do I have to do it all in one day? I can do the vacuuming on this day. I can do the cleaning the kitchen out this day. Yeah, I can do yard work this day. There's no one saying you have to do it all at once. And the only person that was saying that was the person, that little the panic voice in my head saying, uh, you got to do this all. That's a lot of work. Those things that overwhelm you. It's not an actual voice in my head. I should make that clear. Thought. That's the word. Anyway, it's it's a skill I'm getting better at. Skill I could still improve a lot at, though. Let me make that clear. I'm kind of um, sharing the success in it because of how far I've come on that. It was non-existent for a while, but I still have a lot to get better at on this. Like I said, I struggle with that on the business side. Get better, but I'm struggling with that, and that's kind of what you can either let it frustrate you, or you can get excited about the fact that you have the opportunity to learn, that you are learning, and I think that's my state of mind, more or less across the board. As of I'd say roughly a year ago, it was about a year ago when I uh, started back the podcast, and that's really been the attitude around that. Um, it's growth is a big part of my motivation. People have different things that motivate them. Some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated by status or acceptance by certain individuals or a community. My drive has really been about learning and growth, and it might sound corny to some people, but that's just kind of how it is now. I embrace that when someone says, "Do you know how to do this?" and I say, "I don't know." I don't say it like, "Man, I don't know." It's like, "I don't know, but now I want to learn." Uh, it's a change in mindset. It's I don't know. I probably wouldn't have bought into the idea a few years ago. I would have never thought that would have been my thought process. My first thought would have been, "Oh, you must be wearing a mask of some sort." I've already lived masks or worn masks way too long in my life, so that's too exhausting to even go that route now. Like I said, I still have a lot of struggles within the whole thing of tackling projects. Starting out strong on this one. That's why I'm kind of tooting my horn on it. I'm proud of that, and it's okay to be proud of accomplishments. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, but I'm definitely proud of where I'm at now compared to where I used to be. Uh, but yeah, there's the consistency. I think is what I'm looking to better myself in on this, and I guess even getting better at prioritizing projects within my life. So obviously recovery is one of my number one focus in my life. Um, Nothing against friends, family, or work, but if I screw up on my recovery, I lose friends, family, and work. It's just how it is. So that's why it comes first. But understanding that, like, within the projects, I'm really getting involved with this, but I can't take my foot off and neglect, say, big indie media. That's a project in itself too, and it's actually getting better. I'm very pleased with the direction it's been heading. I'd say over the last 2.5 months, it's definitely uh, heading in the right direction. So yeah, that's the basic topic I wanted to cover today. Just because it's been on my mind so much over the last week. Uh, with that being said, That's today's episode. I do want to let you know, though, that next week's episode of Andy's Chomping at the Bit will not be brought to you by Big Andy Media. It's going to skirt there's not going to be any inappropriate language. It's still going to be friendly for any audience as far as the language that's in it. I'm not going to be like no explicit language. But I'm definitely going to skirt the edge a lot closer than I would if Big Andy Media was sponsoring it or presenting it, because I don't want anyone affiliated, past, present, or future, with Big Andy Media, or anyone that might work with Big Andy Media later on. I don't want any of what I say in the next podcast to necessarily be misconstrued as representing the beliefs of others. This will be strictly my take, 100% in the coming week, and it will not be as. I'm going to address something that's been really bothering me lately, something that's been common in the media. So it's going to skirt on the edge of politics and possibly even religion, but particularly in the politics edge. But I'm going to still try doing it in the most non-biased way possible. And I really wanted to do this earlier, but I've been collecting a lot of information to make sure that I do it justice when I bring it forward. So you'll definitely not want to miss that one. That being said, thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Friday, and I'll see you again on Monday for another Daily Biscuit. Take care.